Well, let's return now to our top story in Indonesia and the elections taking place there. Joining us from Jakarta now is Sana Jaffrey. She's a researcher in the Department of Political Science at the University of Chicago, specializing in Indonesian politics. So, Sana, as we now know, unofficial results have incumbent President Joko Widodo ahead, but both he and his opponent have both declared victory. We're still waiting for the final results May 22nd. So what are the biggest takeaways from this election so far?
Thank you for having me. I think the thing to look forward to, first of all, is how the results are accepted by the party that seems to have lost the election, at least according to the quick count results. And the second big thing to watch out for is also how the president is able to then reconstitute support for himself in the parliament. 50% of the coalition seems to comprise 50% of the parliament at this point, but this might grow as the final results come in. In terms of the big takeaways, I think this is a resounding validation of President Joko Widodo's mandate and his policies. He's enjoyed 70% approval ratings of his performance in the past, and it seems that the results have sort of showed that people are still willing to have his leadership on the main issues.
So how do Widodo and Subianto's economic and trade policies stack up against each other?
I think so the foreign investment issue really became a sticking point in the election. And Joko Widodo has defended his policies to allow more foreign investment into the country. And Prabowo Subianto's policy was sort of saying that this level of investment and the terms with which the investment is being sought is compromising Indonesia's sovereignty. Especially the issue of foreign workers in Indonesia became a big sort of issue for Joko Widodo as a point of criticism, with large numbers of the population disagreeing with letting foreign workers in with foreign investment to run large infrastructure projects. And so it would be interesting to see how the president either sort of takes it as a sign that he needs to change, or takes the big vote for him as a sign that he is now okay to continue with the policies in the past.
Now, what about young people and millennials? Talk about their role in the election and the economy.
Well, they did constitute 40% of the voters, it seems. So they are a very key constituency for this president moving forward. And it seems to be reflected in the kind of priorities that he's outlined. So his priorities for improving the digital infrastructure in the country are geared towards millennials. He specifically mentioned esports as something that he wants to improve, and recognized it as a very significant source of income in the country and a career that more and more millennials are willing to take up. The second thing that he sort of prioritized for the millennials is training and job creation in the next 5 years. So those are the two key things that I think that we should keep an eye on for the millennials.
Now, obviously, there are also legislative elections that are going to shape the country's reforms, including land, infrastructure, and things like the digital economy. Why are these sectors so significant?
These sectors are significant because they are sort of moving forward Indonesia's opportunity to pivot away from a very commodities-driven economy to a more services-driven economy, and to create more jobs for millennials who might be looking for jobs in these sectors, right? So improving digital infrastructure is also part of improving rural access to urban markets in Indonesia, and improving the overall connectivity of the country, which could really improve its competitiveness in the global market.
And as we look at the global market, talk about the prospects for cooperation with China, especially in terms of infrastructure projects with the Belt and Road Initiative.
So China is Indonesia's largest trading partner, and that might not change in any. I don't think the election will have any big effect on that. Chinese investment, however, as I mentioned, has been a sticking point in this election, especially the terms with which the investment comes. And so while the large infrastructure projects that are ongoing, such as the $6 billion high-speed railway between Jakarta and Bandung, are likely to continue, but it would be interesting to see if there are any changes in the terms on which these investments are sought in the future.
All right, thank you so much. Sana Jaffrey there from the Department of Political Science at the University of Chicago.